to the third episode of the press release. We're moving right along, and this is one of my favorite ones. I had the opportunity to, in building this album, to work with my homie and longtime friend Jimmy Wiz. Now the third track on the album is called Freedom. This was one of my personal favorites. When I think about it, man, when we got into studio, it was late at night. I just gotten the joint from Tone Jones, and I was like, yo Jim, let's just work on a joint together. We've known each other for many years and hadn't worked on any song together. We've been on songs with other guys, but like me and him hadn't happened. So played the joint for him. I mean, obviously when we both vibe, we're like, shucks, man, this joint speaks volumes. So just the beat in itself. So we got into it, and I was like, what would the concept be? And I was like, yo, let's tell a story about each other, but not in an average sense. So you take my character and I take yours, and we create a narrative of that. And because freedom is so wide, I mean, you can talk about freedom in any sense. We went into the whole idea of freedom from your fears, freedom from your pain or your past and everything that you've gone through, or a lot of things that you've just gone through. And it was quite interesting in knowledge of what we know of each other, and in context of what people are going through in general, and what they're looking for in terms of freedom. So I think that's how the joint got started, and very late at night, around 1-2 in the morning, we came up with this joint called Freedom, and I really hope you enjoy it.
What up, it's your baby boy Jimmy Wiz, live in the cut, and today we're doing a ball breakdown of my verse on Freedom, and I was called up by my man Cata-Lust, and he said, Jim, I need you on something. So this is how my verse goes. Freedom. Shout out to Tone Jones, baby. I liked you when introduced you to Cata, little man from the south, and only the pen matter. Writer extraordinaire with an intellectual grammar, the brightest of his age and bullied in every manner. So the introduction to Cata, little man from the south, talk about where he's from, and what matters to him the most is him being this extraordinary writer with smart and knowing how to put these words together. Very bright for his age, but here comes a twist, the nerd guy who's bullied by everybody. Now, the next 4 bars. But Cata had it hard growing up. Papa said that he's a failure, but it's hard giving up. Arguing the trust, crushed by the awkwardest love, only cause he get it for Papa some drugs. Sorry for that. So, to break it down, so what I was actually saying was, but Cata had it hard growing up. Papa said that he's a failure, but it's hard giving up. Arguing the trust, crushed by the awkwardest love, only cause he couldn't get his fucking Papa some drugs. So what this does is then I start breaking down Cata. So Cata, as much as he's a smart guy, writer, everything, life is pretty trash, and it's hard growing up. You know, it's hard because at a very young age, he's dealing with the fact that his dad is actually a drug addict, you know, and dad is calling him a failure, like, yo, this is what you want to do with your life, just become a rapper, just become a writer, all of that. But now he's arguing the trust, you know, crushed by the awkwardest love, meaning like the person he needs to trust the most, he's having the most awkwardest relationship with. And it's a love-hate relationship where the guy he's supposed to trust the most is the guy who he's fighting against the most. The guy whom he needs to be looking up to is the guy that's bashing his dreams, bashing down everything he's ever believed in. And it becomes like that every time he comes home and his dad is like, did you get me any other drugs? So like, yo, Cata's like, yo, man. And dad just keeps saying, you're a failure, you're a failure, you're a you know, the next four is so it says Cata has to wait tables after class to live. Got himself a pair of Dre's for a passion to live. Passion he gives, he's all for a mansion to live. Trying to reach for a dream that's been grasping at him. So with that being said, he actually says Cata has to wait tables after classes to live. So this now Cata keeps growing and now he becomes a busboy, a waiter. And this is what he has to do on a daily just to, you know, keep sane, just to keep pushing the dream, you know. So he got with the job that he now has. So it says Cata has to wait tables after classes to live. Got himself a pair of Dre's for a passion to live. Passion he gives his all for a mansion to live. Trying to reach for a dream that's been grasping at him. So this says Cata does this. He wakes up every morning, or knocks off from work. Knocks off from school. He goes straight to his job. He's a busboy. He's a waiter. He does his shift. He gets his check, right? And what he does, Cata's love is music. So Cata sees these Beats by Dre, a pair of headsets, and he's like, I want to get this. This is for my passion. I literally got this job because I want to fund my passion. I'm going to be that independent artist that needs to fund my passion, you know? So he gets these pair of J's for a passion to live. Passion he gives his all for a mansion to live. So he's got these wild dreams that this passion is going to give him everything he wants to, everything he wanted. This mansion, you know, everything we all hear about in songs and music, right? So trying to reach for a dream that's been grasping at him. So as much as he's fighting for this dream is also fighting for Cata. This dream is saying to Cata, dude, I'm not letting you go because this is all you know. Me, I'm your best friend, man, you know? So the next 4 bars goes a little something like this. The last 4 bars, actually. Yeah. It's hard, but he's doing it at last. Writing to tell you how we maneuver from the back. Touring the world, staging me, the movers at the back. Look, he's finally free doing music because he can. So what this says is, it's hard, but he's doing it at last. Writing to tell you how he maneuvered from the back. Touring the world stages, me the movers at the back. Look, he's finally free doing music because he can. So all of this is just the beautiful ending is in the last 4, right? 16 in and out. So you gotta jam pack everything you can. So it's hard, but he's doing it at last. I don't think that really needs a breakdown. You know, he's after all of the trials and tribulations, he's finally gotten to a point where everything he's worked so hard for, everything he dreamed about, he's finally doing. And now he's at a point where he's actually writing these stories. He's actually now a full-on world superstar musician, and he's writing all of these things and all of these stories, everything he's gone through, just to tell you, the listener, that listen, man, like, I came from there. I maneuvered from all of these bad things, and I'm finally where I want to be, finally where I ought to be, you know, finally where God decided to place me. So he's touring the world, staging me the movers at the back, all of the movers and shakers, everybody he's dreamed of ever meeting. These are the people now he's meeting. Look, he's finally free doing music because he can. And that's it. Freedom. He is finally free from all the bullshit that he's ever faced. He's finally free from everything that held him back from reaching his dreams. And he's finally free, and now he's doing music because he can, because he wants to, and because he can. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Jimmy Wiz. That's my 16 from Jimmy Wiz, talking about Cata-Lust, freedom. Shout out to Cata-Lust, shout out to Tone Jones and PastaAbdxll. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy J Star, aka PastaAbdxll. And I, first of all, I'm honored to be on this song. Didn't think I'd feature as a vocalist. Didn't think I'd collaborate with such an amazing lyricist. And it actually happened in a very crazy way. Was he setting up the session, ready to record some vocals and stuff. While the song was playing, I was just singing and vibing out because it's so soulful. And Cata was like, yo man, I really did that. I really feel like you should do something. And I started writing, brainstorming, bouncing ideas back and forth. We've got a classic, so check it out. I'm happy that the song speaks about freedom.
Yo, so let's get into the bars quickly because that's why we're here. I'm not gonna waste any time. You know, Jimmy's just giving you his bars. I think it's only right that I do the same. Yo, Jimmy, shout out to you for the feature, man, and also shout out to you for just breaking it down for these people, man. So let's get into my verse. Let's go.
Jimmy was the quiet type, hardly ever said a word. One prize kind, never met him with the birds. He was bright in hindsight. Mommy said he was a nerd. Quitting life in hindsight was the center of his world. He was.
So you heard the first four. Jimmy was the quiet type, hardly ever said a word. Bookworm, prize kind, never meddle with the birds. You know, this is kind of telling the story of who he is. We're establishing his character and the type of person, you know, how he's lived his life for the longest time. Quiet type, hardly ever said a word, man. That's somebody who's a recluse, who's in himself. Bookworm, prize kind, you know, he's pretty smart, and never meddle with the birds. Birds being a description for girls, so he wasn't really into girls at the time, or rather he was a bit shy. He was the shy type. So yeah, those are the first two bars there. He was bright and Einstein. Mommy said he was a nerd, so his mom knew he was going places. He was pretty clever, stood out, and said, you know, that guy in the class who always had something to say. Quitting life in hindsight was the center of his world. And this is where things get a little bit tricky. You know, with all that knowledge and he's pretty clever, he's known as a nerd, why would he want to kill himself? And why would he want to be, wouldn't want to see himself in this life? That's a pretty weird juxtaposition from how we've established it.
Center of his world, he was bullied all the time, slapped and bruised. His pride held it all inside, acted cool. But bottling it up was a backward tool. His conjuring the tough was in fact abuse.
Those bars are pretty, is where things start getting a bit interesting because, you know, coming into it, he was bullied all the time, slapped and bruised. You know, we understand why he wants to take his life, and his pride held it all inside, acted cool. So I think that's one of my favorite lines in the story because, you know, in culture, acting tough and being and not being bothered by and showing that you're not bothered by, in the sense your bully, you know, it's showmanship of what a man you are. So it also shows his maturity at this stage, is that he doesn't want anybody to know that he's affected, and so Jimmy's going through the whole quite a lot of pain, but also he knows that by keeping the stuff inside, it's actually hurting him. It's hurting him more. So that brings on the next line saying, but bottling it up was a backward tool. So he knows that it's not gonna work for him in the future. It's actually not even gonna help him, because conjuring the tough was in fact abuse. So him trying to act cool, him trying to act tough, he's actually hurting himself more than he actually thinks. So those 4 bars, you know, now in establishing the role, we know that shucks, man, he is he's dealing with quite a lot on this stage. Yo, Jimmy, sorry, bro.
Fact abuse, but Jimmy was enough. Jimmy's stand to prove. Every little punch he would channel through. He wrote up every single punch as the Nazi drew. When he's hitting, he's running at the planet proof.
yeah, so now as we can see, you know, he's had enough, you know, but Jimmy was enough. Jimmy's anger grew with every little punch he would channel through. So it's like he's now starting to see that, man, you know, I don't need to take this anymore. Every time he gets, you know, they take anything, his lunch, his food, it's actually riling him up, and it's a build-up of a lot of stuff that's going on in himself. We know that first of all, he's fighting with the fact that he's not socially acceptable, to his perception, that is. But now he's also fighting with the fact that, you know, at school, you know, people keep bullying him for the person that he is, whether it is his weight or he's a nerd. In this sense, is actually affecting him pretty hard. So in this stage, he's like, no, you know what, I'm actually enough of this. And with every little punch he would channel through, he thought of every single punch as the maths he drew. So, you know, he's now devising a plan. He's like, you know what, I'm actually gonna get these guys back. And I don't know what to do yet, but I'm gonna get them back. So as he's doing his homework, he's kind of scheming, and he's like, yo man, how do I do this in a way? I'm not stronger than these guys, I'm not tougher than these guys. How do I get that right? So being a nerd and being smart, you know, he's got a plan. So he's gotten into a bit of a plan now. So he thinks, you know what, I've got I can't win physically, so let's challenge into something where I can actually address them in a way that, you know, we can compare notes. And one part that is actually not even spoken about, and it's kind of a subtle thing, is it's almost like a challenge to them. If you're better than me at this, you guys can continue. If you're not better than me though, you guys gotta leave me alone. So, but what's interesting about these 4 bars is that he gets into the point where he can actually, one, he's brave enough to stand up to them and actually challenge them. 2 is that when he speaks about his challenge, through the challenge, he's also putting something on them to bring to the table. Instead of killing them with strength, he would kill them with smarts. Let's settle this like men, so he challenged them all. Let's write about the problems and tales from the heart. He found his bully was being bullied from his parents at home. One thing he did find out was that his parents are bullying his bully, and that's what's affecting him. That's what's affecting him negatively. He wants to grow. He wants to be the person that he wants to be in life. But there's somebody else who's actually infringed himself on his life and affected him quite badly, to the point where, if we go back to the beginning of the verse, he wanted to kill himself. So this story in itself is about how we overcome, and those 4 bars are actually quite pertinent to the entire song. Is at the end of the day, you know, if you push through, you can actually get to where you want to be. And also, don't be afraid to challenge yourself, challenge the people around you, and don't give up. And that's the story of what freedom is about, and the freedom of getting over your fears, man. And Jimmy, in this sense, was able to do that by approaching life differently and actually taking on what he knew as his strength, and actually coming out the better. So, with that being said, please go listen to the track. It's called Freedom. It features PastaAbdxll, which you'll hear about him now. He's on the hook as well, alongside Tone Jones. You know, they really chopped it up well. Thank you guys for being on the joint, all of you. You made this song the hit that it is, the classic that it is. I'm all about classics. I'm gonna keep throwing that out there. So this is a classic. Listen to it before the press. Link in my bio. Subscribe to my channel, Cata-Lust TV. Thank you so much for spending time and listening to me and hearing what I've got to say. This is the bar breakdown, the press release, Cata-Lust before the press. I'm out.